Welcome to the Ledger. This evening we're going to talk about costs and how right now our country, the United States of America itself, is spending. Our current situation with Iran. After just a few months ago, we were in conflict with the Ukraine. Now the picture is beginning to get more clearer. There are some issues that we have that concern the various points of our wallets and how we're cutting and writing checks with money we don't have. Last up-to-date check of our deficit, meaning the amount of money we are in debt as a country in a whole, is right around, we would say, $39 trillion. And with that figure in hand, our conversation should become very clearer this evening. We are at a moment right now where there is nothing in our economy that could circulate dollars enough to make us economically sound. There is no way. Our numbers, jobs, dismal. Houses, very dismal. All our current expenditures are very, very dismal. And what we're looking at as a whole in the country is the total damage that we might accrue from what we are experiencing when it comes to our downtrodden balancing of our own checkbook. One issue that we know is always going to be an issue, but it's an indicator that our financial times and our economic support system that our country usually balances itself on when it comes to our numbers is way off balance. When we have credit as our main sources of payment, that means that you can dig yourself further and further in the hole because the bill is going to keep going up to the clouds and to the sky. What we're all responsible for now is maintaining our own life. Many individuals are on income supported by the government. Their homes are supported by the government. Every means that they have to live for, the United States Treasury Department or some form of a government department, veterans, retirees, investments, 401ks, etc., pensions, are their means of living. Not the exact glowing points for an America in the United States where we thrive on individuals who are earning. That way we can so-called foot the bill. And cost is not an issue. We have expenses that come along, which some are accrued, meaning they are within our budget constraints, and we have planned and have foresight to see these issues coming up when it might come to a project, some form of a construction, completion of a job, and the money ran over. But we have infrastructure dollars that became in place thanks to individuals who recognized that our country was falling apart at the seams, which was a good thing. COVID, we had payouts for individuals who were stricken by COVID. That was medical. We could go on and on this evening, but we're not. And we're gonna just stay within the guidelines of what's digestible. There is no one who's gonna fall out the sky or come soaring down from the clouds with an answer to this math problem that's pretty solvable. We're operating in the minus zone. We have a negative balance, America. And when I say we, because all of us are now partaking to live as though it does not exist. But when you throw that number called deficit of 39 trillion, there's nobody in DC or any other state of our union who can rectify that statement as being false. It's the truth. Our times are turbulent. We are in conflicts. We are often trying to find the silver lining. Oh, this is going to make us turn around. It's not. Our entrepreneurship is only growing in numbers, digital numbers. Most of them on the screen. If you believe that a gig, this is an example, hate to jump off track, that a gig company has the exact amount of dollars that their company is valued at, their IPO, etc., whatever BS they done sold you, you're wrong. Those businesses sometimes form their own banks, now their own means of sources of the money, and as you saw with Silicon Valley Bank, sometimes the well can run dry. And when the well runs dry, good old government, Uncle Sam, had to step in. The FDIC insured monies and funds that in which were not covered by the banking system of our government. Since it's privatized money, the current Fed chief at that time, he did not have to foot the bill, but he chose to do so because individuals went to withdraw money out of a bank that they had hard earned and worked for, and it wasn't there. Now are you starting to understand that the possibility that our country could answer to such a mistake was a hint what was to come? Now everyone's sitting back. Lots of blame is being pointed, fingers are being, conversations behind closed doors, and some individuals out there, and the conversations about them. It's getting us nowhere. We have to understand what we are doing. Right now, global conflict is not the answer. Right now, tossing up strange inflated numbers, not the answer. Because we're living in an inflationary time zone, my friends. I don't care if you live on the East Coast, if you live on the West Coast. We are living in an inflationary time standpoint. And that standpoint is not because the money ran out. The money wasn't there. Because we got something called a bill of payment that came in the mail, and we didn't have the money. So we went to borrow it. And when we went to borrow it, we found out that it wouldn't be enough to keep us going until the next day we approach such a time of financial worry. We don't want you to really sleep about this, America. We here at The Ledger just wants to keep you informed to know that when we sit out here, on the patio, or a nice summer evening, with traffic snarling, everybody's going back and forth. Don't let that fool you. Today is the 3rd of the month. A lot of people's incomes have been given to them, okay? Or they have earned it and they got it now to spend. We can come back to the same location next week and it'll be a snarl's pace of traffic. We are living momentarily, day by day. Our financial records are damaged for a while. What we have to put in place is this is the life of standard we're gonna live. There's no accountability, my friends. When I gave you the example about those gig companies and spoke about checks being written, that the amount of funds was insufficient. That's how we're living. So next time on The Ledger, we're not going to discuss what we thought we'd be discussing today, the urban housing issue. We're going to touch and brief on that before we go this evening. That's another issue that has the economy a little bit twisted up here. When we approach and discuss the urban housing communities of America. We're talking about inner cities and areas in which there's more public services. Your schools are basically pretty much public, even if they're chartered. You have a more smaller percentage of the municipalities, the city in which these areas are, look for contribution to their overall dollars come into the register. But it became an issue when houses that were once going for an optimum price could not be sold anymore in that area because there was no support from the community, meaning in which voting, school levies didn't pass, bond issues didn't make it to the ballot. There was a civic implosion, therefore, in which the housing structure was going to be the first butt of the joke. When the government steps in and buys a house, I'll give you an example, my friends, in that area in the community that housing are not being sold, it's not a good thing. That means the house price has been decreased. That means the individual who owned the house sold it for less than its value, most likely because there were some maintenance issues or some issues dealing with back taxes or something that might have put a lien on the house that they couldn't afford the home anymore, but their incomes weren't that high enough to support it because they never had a job that was really in the equation of what their house could cost if everything that they received from payments stopped. And that's what happened. When individuals lost payments and the money decreased, and a whole list of things could happen to you financially that makes your household income decrease. That's cost, my friends. So the cost of living in urban America exceeded the amount of dollars that was being earned in that same setting. Now we have a situation where government-controlled housing cannot make their rents because the property is not being occupied by individuals who have a stable enough income to pay a percentage of it. That's where it gets sticky. There is no outlet to say that those homes empty are going to help the community, but that's the end result. A person has to leave, the house sits there, the community rots and decays. You're right through these neighborhoods, schools will be boarded up, the local shopping areas will seem like a desert, and it'll be dry as a Mojave, my friends. So the urban housing sector, really not a point ability that the government looks at anymore, but they used to because it allowed them to give housing to people who could not afford the price of a home in a regular financial situation, meaning their incomes is balanced and of the average of the American median. Now, when the median income is not met by a community, that's when the bottom falls out, my friends. So what we have put into a capsule today before closing, because this is a nice summer evening where we have plans and we want to enjoy our plans also. But as we say, America, there are people who are living in fantasy. But when we look at the numbers, the dollars, reality settles in. So our point of topic this evening, costs, we'd like to thank you. And we'd like to see you again next time when we have a discussion that directly affects you again and where you are in the standard of living in this country called the United States of America, my friends. Yeah, we move the camera around to avoid, getting somebody's face or making them uncomfortable. But we're not here for that. We're here to let you know that it's not all about cosmetic window dressing. We're not in the studio. We're not employing people with hundreds of thousands of dollars to read from a teleprompter. We have read, we have researched, and we have seen the numbers, and it's sad. But here we're going to try to keep it moving to let you know money is not going to be your worries. Your worries is elsewhere. Do not let the financial burden of America burden yourselves. Have a great summer evening. We'll talk again here at the Ledger.